Thank you very much. Distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I think, in a way, the mixing of the two sessions today probably indicates the way forward for us. To be able to deliver electronic services for inclusive development, we need to find a new way of outsourcing, a new method of involving the private sector, and probably a few more models of PPP. Today, I'm here to present the Department of IT's view. I think my secretary has already given his views in the morning on what DIT is doing for inclusive development. I want to put this in the framework of legislation, policy, and a plan. You all know about IT Act. We are in the process of enacting a new legislation called the Electronic Delivery of Services Bill. Then we have recently come up with the National IT Policy. We have the National E-Governance Plan since 2006. So let me briefly touch upon as to how we are doing IT for inclusive growth through all this. IT Act, as you know, has for the first time given legal recognition to e-governance, and following that, we have strengthened the departments, the state governments, the central government in delivering electronic services to the people. The Administrative Reforms Commission has given a strong recommendation, following which we have worked on the Electronic Delivery of Services Bill. IT Act allows e-forms to be submitted. It recognizes licenses or sanctions or any approvals which were earlier issued through paper, through ink signature, to be delivered using digital signatures, delivered electronically. It also, for the first time, provided for a service provider to deliver the electronic services to the people. It's not just government department outlets or only government offices that will deliver these services. So the private service provider has come in. So this was a great provision, and because of which you find the common service centers in villages now. You find the MCA project outlets coming in. You have e-passport seva kendras coming in. So this provision in IT Act allows you to deliver services through a public-private partnership. It also says that you can levy service charges, which some of the service providers are doing. But if IT Act has done all this, then why do we need a separate EDS bill? I think to ensure the supply side of electronic service delivery, somewhere it was missing. That even though we have given a lot of provisions, we have made electronic signatures legal. Government has, many state governments have created separate IT departments, and there is a department of which was earlier a Department of Electronics, had become Ministry of IT, and now Department of Electronics and IT. Despite all this push from the government side, somehow the electronic services were not getting delivered the way people wanted them. I mean, the aspirations were very high. So how do we basically, it is in a way pushing ourselves, the government pushing itself into this into this job, and in a way disciplining the departments. The bill says that all government departments have to deliver all services in electronic mode, but for a few services for which they can give a negative list that these services cannot be. And they have to publish these services within 180 days of whenever the legislation is enacted. This is for both central government and state government. And then there is a 5-year window extendable to 8 years where you will have to ensure that it is delivered in an electronic manner. Another important aspect is, from the inclusive growth point of view, is to ensure assisted access. I mean, when our bill went to the Parliamentary Standing Committee said that, why do you want to make it mandatorily e-mode? There should be a manual mode also. So, to help, to assist the citizen he can get his manual paper, but there will be a kiosk, there will be assisted access for the citizen to convert his application into an e-application. So there is a provision for assisted access. Then there are provisions for simplification of procedures, which many people say that is missing in a lot of e-governance projects. Now it is mandatory, and there will be an oversight mechanism which will look at whether you are simplifying process or not. There is a complaint mechanism, there is an appeal mechanism. People who do not get a service in electronic mode can go and complain, and government officers, including me, can be penalized, for I think about 50,000 rupees. Then we are hopeful that this bill will be enacted soon. In the meantime, we have come up with this national IT policy. I have just given those points which are relevant here to the topic. They're very ambitious, and I think a lot of deliberations are now going on, and a lot of churning is happening in the government as to how do we achieve this. Then we have a plan which has been going on since 2006, and it is expanding by the day. There are a lot of changes, a lot of new technologies, but this vision remains the same. We want to make sure that services are delivered in the locality of the common citizen, and and it should be affordable. The cost should be affordable. The technology that is coming in should not increase the cost of delivery. So this is a talisman for us. Whenever we lose track, then we come back to this and we read this again and again. We have mission mode projects. One or two mission mode projects are represented here on the dais, and about a lot of them. Some are successful, some are not successful, some are yet to be sanctioned. Some are new. For example, in the second column, the last two are new: health and education. Employment exchange is yet to be approved. Post, the first column, last one has just been approved. There are many which are in second phase, like the MCA project has gone into the second phase. There are success stories. So we are into constant review of these mission mode projects, and we are trying to find ways of improving the service delivery to citizens through these projects. Now, we have law, we have policy, we have plans. We need to have a clear way forward for us. I think this is important. This focus is the need of the day. We are hoping that the EDS bill will see the light of the day soon, and then it will help push the social sector services. One of our objectives in the national IT policy is also to leverage ICT in social sector. We are still working on a lot of strategies, plans, schemes. I mean, if you have ideas, you're most welcome to give us those ideas. For example, we want to educate, we want to make one person in each household illiterate. It's a gigantic task. If you have some ideas, we are open, we are looking at any idea to make this objective delivery of our IT policy quicker and easier. We are spending a lot of money on the core IT infrastructure. We have created data centers, we have created networks, we have invested a lot of money in the service delivery points, the CSC kiosks. and we are trying to leverage cloud technology. We have created payment gateways, we have mobile service delivery gateways. A lot of investment is going into providing the core IT infrastructure so that whichever department has an idea, just have to create an application and plug into all the infrastructure that is readily available. And last but not the least, the capacity building is a big issue in government. I am sure some of you who deal with government will realize that as a high-tech IT project has reached a government office and suddenly you find that there is no one who understands, or if there is a bug then there is a problem. So we are coming up with a HR policy, human resource policy for IT in government, which is I think shortly to be released. So a lot of work is going on, and I take this opportunity to share some of our ideas, some of our thinking in the government, and I'll be most happy to get some ideas, questions, comments from you on this. Thank you very much.